Huh. Apparently I can scan a couple of these things. Must have missed that. Signal beacon. Beacon used to set up a local positioning system will facilitate mapping of the environment and speed up returning to previously visited areas. Portable stove. Portable stove, mainly used to heat up gruel, but sometimes if we're lucky, the hydroponics wall will yield something with a bit more substance and flavor. Oh, can't scan that. I don't know what else I'm missing here. Can I scan him? Oh, I can. Harry. A member of an intelligent species local to this planetoid. Their muscular ability is severely hampered after 2 centuries of suspended gravitational pull. Otherwise, Harry's health is remarkable. Their cell deterioration is similar to ours. Shit, I never even scanned Kurt. Culinary robotic transport. A retooled food delivery robot we got for a good price at a liquidation sale. Kurt's really more part of the family. Okay, wow, yeah. More stuff I can scan. Hydroponics wall. A hydroponics garden delivers nutrient-infused water to facilitate the growing of crops in space. This is the smaller system in the line, and is really more of a luxury than a reliable source of sustenance. Workbench. Practical and modular workbench. Got it cheap and used, but it's sturdy. A newer design would give us less energy consumption, though. Equipment for extracting manufacturing components and tools for casting are ordered by function. I want to get on. Talk about that in a moment. Is there anything else I can scan in here? Not really. How many of you guys have heard of Sir Vimes's theory on economics? Kind of on the topic of politics, I guess. Wait, where the heck is... Oh, there's Becks. I didn't even scan her.
Ha
Becks.
ha, very funny.
The best friend and partner a spacefaring woman could wish for. Thoroughly underappreciated. Alright, so what do we have access to now? Because we picked up a couple of things. Liquidate small gun creatures or mobilize larger threats. A larger thermal accelerator for the pulse cannon delivers a stronger plasma pulse. Let's grab that, because that sounds really good. And overcharge. That's okay. I just don't care. I don't need it. This game barely has combat. Like, I like the idea of the upgrade system, it just doesn't matter. Anyway, Sir Vimes's theory on economics. I'm sure there was a better way of putting it, and I'm gonna butcher it pretty terribly. But, for those of you that have never read SteamWorld, 1, please do. It's incredible.
Hey, Ronnie, I know it won't be the same once we're done here, but I just want you to know that I'm aware that we need a change.
Becks.
I'd actually really like it if you'd be more involved, to look at our options together.
I'd like that too. Once we're done here, we'll have time to dream a bit.
Okay. So, SteamWorld is an incredible kind of parody fantasy series that makes fun of a lot of, like, common tropes, but also is, like, really funny, incredibly well written, has some, honestly, like, incredible messages. It's one of those that, like, you'd really have to read a couple of them for it to really sink in, but once it does, it's great. And they're all super good. And very unique, despite the fact that, yeah, they're a little derivative of certain other media types and sources and whatnot. Anyway, so Commander Vimes' theory on economics is effectively that shoes. In Ankh-Morpork, there's a ton of poor people, and the common shoes that they all buy and wear are these cheap, I'm gonna say like $50 shoes. I don't remember what the exact value was, and I don't remember what the current currency was. But effectively you buy shoes for $50. But they're cheap. You know, they had cardboard for soles instead of, you know, a proper leather, I'm assuming, on the bottom. And they fall apart after half a year. At which point you have to buy another $50 pair of shoes. Now, there's another model that's more expensive for $200 that'll last you actually for years. Reunions.
Damn it! I need my mask. Becks? Becks? Ugh, crap! Figures. Not getting back in this way.
Ah, there we go. But so, you know, there's a more expensive model. That is, I don't know if I hit it. Oh yeah, most definitely didn't. I think I gotta shoot it from up above. More expensive model, $200, and it'll last for a couple of years. So, financially, it would make the most amount of sense. Did I get it? Oh, I did. Financially, it would make the most amount of sense.
I found a way in, Becks! Becks! I hope she's on her way.
It would make the most amount of sense to buy the more expensive model. But, problem being, if you don't have $200 at the moment, like, you're still gonna need shoes. You can't go barefoot. And so, like, maybe you could just kind of save up. But for a lot of people, you know, that's not really an option. You need those shoes now. You know, you're not gonna be able to go to work barefoot.
I'm sick and tired of this stuff.
And so instead, you buy the cheap shoes every 6 months. And maybe, yeah, you can save up. But it's not just those shoes. It might also be your roofing. Sure, $10,000 will get you some really nice, like, shingles and roofing tiles and whatever. But you don't have $10,000. You get 100. So instead, you get a tin roof, which keeps it cold. Which, you know, might not keep the rain out and ends up with you getting kind of sick. Maybe not a big deal immediately, but that still has its own complications. You're more tired, maybe you need to buy some more medicine, but there's kind of a cost to everything, and there's a cost to being cheap. Kind of the same with, like, buying stuff from a dollar store. I remember thinking the dollar store was really cool as a kid until somebody pointed out that, no, they just give you less. I think there are some actual deals, but most of the time you're just buying proportionally less and you actually lose out. You're better off just buying in ultra bulk from, like, Costco instead. There we go. And so where am I coming from with this? Well, the workbench they had, a more expensive model.
Becks? I'm getting there. I wish you had better news. No, it's just an expression, Harry, like, okay, never mind. Thanks for the warning.
I was actually wondering about these, because I saw these two doors earlier when we were on the elevator, and I was just kind of like, whatever, we'll get back to it. And the answer is, of course we did. I like it when that sort of thing is reused. I was gonna say. But, so, with this workbench of theirs, the more expensive model would cost less energy. So, sure, you know, sure, they save some money getting the cheap version now, but ultimately, over the course of its lifespan, they might end up actually paying more.
Good thing I have Harry's keycard with me.
I remember this was something specifically with my... Nope. Anything here? No. This is something my mother brought up a long time ago. We had a Honda CR-V. One of the, like, first models. And we bought it for however much money. And, you know, it was a good deal at the time.
Bingo! I'm in, Becks. Now, I just need to shut this thing off.
Great. You got this.
But because we...
This seems like a good place to start.
Because, okay, there's one. Let's go down here. But it had a number of, like, kind of hidden costs related with it being a used car. And so ultimately, we actually had to put in more money than if we had just bought it new over the course of its lifespan. And maybe that's not entirely true, but usually that drop in cost isn't that much. Maybe that's not a good example, but, you know, there's other things like Rent-A-Center. I walk by a Rent-A-Center whenever I go shopping at the local GameStop. And let's see. And even GameStop kind of has this, like, weirdly exploitative model You go by Rent-A-Center, it's like, yeah, you can rent a couch for a little while. But, you know, if you rent that couch for, like, more than a couple of years, it actually would have just been better to buy a couch. It's just you only have so much money, so you can't even buy the couch.
Yes! The beam's down! And here comes the gunk. Just like Harry said it would.
I'd start sucking, not just kind of posing. Whatever. It's fine. I was expecting it would actually try and mob her more, but no, it's just kind of chilling. Okay. Works for me. I think clearly I have to suck it up if I can. Where'd it go? Oh, it just pieced out. Alright. But I guess I think about this not infrequently. The idea of...
I think I should be able to make my way back to the elevator from here.
The idea of, you know, what can you afford versus what you have to pay for. I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen those, like, incredibly insulting, you know, here's how, like, this 22-year-old was able to afford a house. I see those articles go by often enough, and I've known a couple of people that would, like, specifically share them in my direction as kind of like a, you know, you should buy a house. And I'm like, I am an unemployed artist. How am I going to buy a house? And usually there's kind of just really tacky financial information that goes along with that. The one that I always remember is somebody sent me an article, and it was just like, ask your parents to put the down payment on the house, and then also for help on the mortgage. And it's just like, what? And so playing games like this, you know, instantly you see the workbench talking about how the more expensive model would have less upkeep, and it's like, oh, they snuck that in there, and I love it, and now I get to point it out a little bit more. And maybe I'm a little over-eager for this, but I really do like pointing these things out, these weird tropes that people might not normally think about.
Time for some cleaning, Pumpkin.
Goopy. How do get up? I guess we go this way. Because I think in a lot of cases, I am constantly sort of...
Hey there, Slimy. I am not letting you gunk up this place.
In a lot of cases, these are things that I wish I could talk about more. Not necessarily because they're fun topics necessarily, but because they're stuck in my head, and...
If I can just find something to plant here.
I think if I was a more professional YouTuber or streamer or something, it would be easier for me to just kind of ignore a lot of these thoughts in my head or these topics, and, you know, truly just focus on the game or something like that. But
just what I need, but I can't get to it from here.
Can I go down? Nope, that seems like it would not happen. I already harvested these? Yeah, they stay harvested. Makes sense. I appreciate how they're reusing all of this.
Poor plants. You don't really belong in here, but at least you were safe until I let the gunk in. I'll clean this mess up.
There we go. A couple of years ago, I was on vacation. Oh. Okay, that clears that out. Which gets me some fronds if I go over here. Oh, dang it. I don't remember these being here. I must have been standing right next to them. Oh well. But, right at the start of the pandemic, I guess, like right before lockdowns happened, you know, it was just kind of in the news, went on vacation, and got to see a bunch of friends I hadn't seen in years. And we had some very choice things to talk about as far as, like, the state of the world and people and things. And it was incredibly refreshing to actually be put into that position, because I'm not usually in a position where I get to just like chat with people about what I feel like are kind of existential problems. There is no way this is viable. No. I almost feel like they organized that in such a way that I'm specifically not supposed to be able to do that. Oh. There we go. It's like, how the heck am I supposed to get at this thing? The answer is, of course. Try that again. They had to have done that intentionally. That's actually really cool. I like the timing on it. But you know, I want to say my job is kind of isolating. Obviously, I get to interact with some people, but there's well, my job, and also just kind of the state of the world at the moment is kind of isolating, and so I don't get to spend a whole lot of time like commiserating with people. Is that the right word? I think it is. Effectively, collectively bellyaching about shared problems. I get to do it with like YouTube stuff. You know, that was weird. Like, it's not infrequent that I end up kind of chatting with some YouTubers and they'll just complain about the algorithms or certain viewer things or clients or whatever.
No wonder
actually,
this place is called the Garden.
It's actually kind of satisfying to do that, just purely in terms of, like, group therapy. Like, is it the most productive thing to do? No. But it's nice. Okay, let's just toss that out there. Anything in here? I need that bomb for something. I just don't know what or where. That's okay. Yeah, I can just kill them. Jeez. Is there another critter? Yes. Gun's actually pretty good. Should probably wait until those guys stop spawning, but whatever. Do I have the bomb here? Oh, of course. Should probably come back and make sure there isn't anything else in this immediate region. There we go. What about over here? Is there anything? No, because this is where the mining laser was. I don't see any gunk. Yeah. So that's just kind of open because I came through there. Not because there's nothing to do there. Oh, of course. So that moves. Ah. I see, I see. There we go. I was trying to figure out how to get that bomb onto the platform. There's no way that's going to make it. Answer is, yeah, they thought ahead. I'm just not the most observant right now. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, if I start missing the stuff at this point, I apologize. I don't want to say I'm checking out a little bit, but since the upgrades are just kind of not actually that interesting, I'm kind of okay with not being the most thorough. I'm trying to think of games where, like, all of the... Oh! Grow home and grow up. You want an example of a game that does this, like, kind of collect-a-thon-y business really well? Where every single upgrade has, like, massive amounts of potential? You know, every time you get a new upgrade, you're like, oh man, this changes so much. Like, that is the game. Sucks a little bit because it's an Ubisoft product. And I'll be honest, I've kind of soured on Ubisoft lately.
Alright, time to plant this thing.
Like, a lot of the company is fine, but they keep doing things that very clearly indicates that their general leadership maybe isn't so hot. I find this is true of a lot of the big gaming companies that, you know, they might be able to do some good here and there. Yep, nope, can't cross that. They might be able to do some good here and there. Is this... Yes, I can go back. Let's fire at this, though. I'm not actually sure how I'm supposed to get back from here. I guess we'll fight... Oh. Oh, I see. I'm actually supposed to make this jump. There we go. But, you know, the bigger a game company gets, usually the more out of touch the... Not the games necessarily are, but more out of touch some of the decisions are, or some of the management. So I know Ubisoft, Riot Games, and... Nope. Ubisoft, Riot Games, Blizzard especially, you know, all of those are companies that have had storied histories of abuse kind of shuffled under the rug because it's convenient to hide it away. Narts. Or maybe this is a lot easier than I... Yeah, it's a lot easier than I give it credit for, and this thing does not explode. I think Blizzard has always been the most egregious, or has been currently the most egregious. The Riot ones were just kind of offensive, you know, executives that are... I think there were some, like, actual crimes being done, but no, like, deaths and not nearly as long, which is part of it. And at least there was, like, some accountability there. Ubisoft seems very content to just pretend it isn't happening. And since the focus is on Blizzard, they're more than happy to just kind of continue not doing anything about their big systemic issues. But even beyond that, like, as a company, Ubisoft alternates between making some really neat games and then just absolutely whiffing it with them. Like, what's a good example? Starlink, Battle for Atlas. An objectively mediocre game. Could have been amazing, but they decided to make it an Ubisoft product through and through. Oh, no, I can cross this. You know, specifically making it like this kind of open world, grindy, not actually that good game. Oops. Nope. Alright, we're good.
Up we go!
But like, so much of it had so much promise, they just didn't have the follow-through. Not like the Rabbids game.
You ready, Becks? I could really use some company.
Just a few more things to fix. Be there as soon as I can.
Holy crap! Completely clogged!
Am I gonna die? No. I wasn't sure if it was gonna crush
This is
me.
not the sort of company I was hoping for.
Well, I think I just flung it off the edge. It's fine. There we go. Hopefully I won't need large quantities of alien junk, but once again, my desire for completionism has dipped a little bit. But one of my favorite things that Ubisoft ever did was their kind of Ubisoft indie, whatever they were called. I don't remember the name of the initiative, but Grow Home, Child of Light, Valiant Hearts, I think, and a couple other ones.
No way to go but forward.
And, oh right, and Rayman. Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends, I believe it was. You know, both of those very much were just all of a sudden like, oh man, you know,
Guess I'll have to make a detour before I can go on.
Ubisoft is finally, you know, maybe making its, or making some interesting games again as opposed to just more,
Here we go again.
I wonder if I can just shoot those guys. Well, I can just shoot them. And it's really effective against them. So I can just do... Ah, got it. Aha. You thought you could do things, but still. But, you know, I'm not a big fan of Rainbow Six Siege or, you know, Assassin's Creed over and over and over again. That sort of thing got really boring really fast. Am I going out? I don't think so. It looks like there's an area up. Oh. Is there a seat up above? Yeah. Perfect. Oh, that was close. Back. And so yeah, when they started creating a bunch of smaller titles, I actually got really excited. I've definitely talked about this before, that, you know, I wish more AAA studios would just let their teams make small games. Even if they're not good, it's still good for your people. And gives them something to do, you know, between games. That's an easy way of putting it. I was reading a little while back about Cyberpunk. Oh. I was reading a little while back about Cyberpunk 2077, which, you know, as maligned as it is, and it deserves most of it, one of the biggest kind of disappointments towards Cyberpunk was that they rushed it. You know, that definitely was the kind of game that should have been, why did I do this? It's fine. Definitely the kind of game that should have had some more time in development, but they were rushing it. You know, The Witcher 3 did so well that it's like, well, we can do it again. Let's just do it with this. And I think that's kind of valid. Oh, wait. No, they aren't connected. I'm missing something here. I'm supposed to rotate. Honestly, I am supposed to rotate the bottom. It's possible? I guess let's just give it a shot, see if it rotates the upper section. It does. Might be too much. But, you know, a huge part of me really wishes for CD Projekt Red, and like a number of these studios, they actually would make two kind of smaller, not big titles, but like two games that are going to turn a profit, that just might not be quite as successful. So that, like, yeah, you know, maybe Witcher 3 is gangbusters successful, but Cyberpunk 2076, you know, kind of the midpoint game, is there mostly so they can build a number of the core features.
Now, let's do this.
But it isn't the full experience immediately. And instead of, like, marketing it as, you know, this truly incredible game, they kind of do what they did with The Witcher, where Witcher 1, 2, and 3 were improvements upon each other, and by 3 you get the masterpiece. Because the problem with Cyberpunk is when it came out, it was... they rushed it, but they were also shooting for Witcher 3 levels of quality. And, like, they had been doing some work on it prior to Witcher 3 coming out, but as soon as Witcher 3 came out, they threw all of that out the window and then tried to make a whole game in, you know, what, 3-4 years or something like that, which can work if it's a reasonable sized game. But if you're going for, like, you know, one of the best games of all time, like, you really need some time for that. And, like, obviously, I
Better not let it knock me off this platform.
don't
It's a
know
long
enough.
way down.
I don't know enough about the business to, like, really make judgment calls on these things. But, like, playing this game, for example, I don't actually remember. Is this like a $20, $25 game? I think it is. But playing this game, for example, very much makes me think, like, you know, what if during the slow periods where you don't have a big game that you're working on, you had a bunch of, like, small games like this being put out? You know, things that aren't going to pull in big bucks, but they keep the lights on while you're starting to gear up for the next big project and you're ironing out all of the kinks.
If I stay here, I'm done for. Gotta take this on from another angle.
I guess the easiest comparison I could think of would be, I don't know how many of you guys know much about farming, but there's specifically a theory about farming called crop rotation. As like silly and basic as this sounds, I feel like game developers and game studios need crop rotation when it comes to the games that they make. That so many of them do this kind of garbage song and dance where they go from one big hit to the next. Or they do the even dumber thing where they finish the game and then lay off like half the studio, usually the QA folks. And will, you know, kind of get rid of half the team while they're kind of between games. And then have to rehire a bunch of people, and then all of this leads to crunch, because then you're hiring a bunch of people that don't even know what's going on. And that's never a good thing, because, like, let me tell you, humans don't do that well under pressure. They can if they're, like, an individual and they're rushing to finish some project or another kind of quickly. Oops. I don't actually know if this is where I wanted to be. Is it? Oh. We got this one too. There we go. And this is the bomba. There we go. But like you can absolutely do a rush job if you have good leadership, clear planning, and aren't like truly pushing your people to the brink. Unless like it's some like emergency thing, at which point, like, yeah, superhuman activity can happen, but it should not happen in terms of game development. Like, that's just bad management, and it's just bad management and planning and some other things. And so if you have a bunch of these like smaller projects to keep the lights on and experiment and come up with new ideas, I feel like you'd actually have a better shot as a studio, you know, keeping your people around and also not dooming your product. Maybe it's just me. Maybe there are major reasons for this, but it feels like in a lot of cases it's just everybody chasing the big AAA dream instead of trying to come up with interesting ways to make it actually work. It's always just trying to be the next truly big thing. I just want more small games like this. Like, thinking back specifically on Cyberpunk compared to this. You know, what if for Cyberpunk, yeah, they had just like a couple of these like little episodic games in the meantime. Even so much as like taking the prologue. If you guys have played Cyberpunk, and I'm not going to talk too much spoilers, but what if the prologue of Cyberpunk had been this 8-hour linear experience for 20 bucks. Looks gorgeous. You know, gives you kind of a limited open world, a lot of story quests, makes everything kind of, like, really draws you in, shows off the gameplay, but it's short. But at the end of it, it lets you save your character and pass it on to the next, you know, Cyberpunk 2077, not episode 2, but, you know, that's the prologue. Then you get chapter 1, which is the city, and it's like a fully featured game. And you just port your character after that, and you continue the journey. So it's effectively one big game, but it's presented in multiple pieces instead.
Jeez!
Kind of a little bit more bite-sized. Wow, this is busted. That doesn't. Stupid little triggers. Okay. Not perfect. Excuse me, sir. None of this. I guess this is where the traps would have been helpful. There we go. Maybe if I'd sucked up all the gunk, too. We will see. But, so instead of trying to rush an entire game out in a couple of years, you rush out kind of the 3 or 4 segments of it in a slightly more piecemeal sense. And so instead of having this, like, incredibly rushed product that, you know, very clearly is not done, you have a very satisfying initial component. You wait a little bit longer. And then you get the next part of it.
That's a lot of gunk, and it sure doesn't look happy. Wish I had my mask.
I'm sure there are very, very specific reasons. She keeps talking about wishing she had her mask, and that's actually worrying me a lot. Also, why didn't she just make another one or fix it back at the workbench? I feel like that should have been an option here. Oh well. Say, yeah, that's all outside the window. I guess I just get kind of wrapped up in this, and I would love to talk to somebody that can tell me, like, sufficiently, no, this would never work. Not just like a couch businessman like I am, where I'm just kind of like, but what if you did this? I'd actually love to see, like, a specific reason for why AAA doesn't try this a little bit more. My assumption is just, once again, chasing the blockbuster. You're not going to get the same level of hype if you do the prologue game and then the main game. I don't think I'm going to be able to suck up all this stuff. Yeah, I think we're just progressing to the top. I wanted to clean it, but alas. I guess there's no nature in the area, so it's not as impactful to do so. Seems like there might be some underground, too. I'm still gonna clean it anyway. Look, you can't give me this amount of goop and not expect me to clean it. Gosh, this game would be such a, like, so rad if they added, like, a power cleaning simulator mode, where it's just like, yeah, we made a bunch of levels for this game. Just go suck up the goop, have fun. Oh, shit. Okay, this kind of goes back to my, what I'm talking about, kind of.
Okay, let's do this.
You know, here is a game that has a lot of assets and ideas, but maybe not enough content. What if they just, like, released a second game using a lot of the same assets, characters, and whatnot, but it is straight up just, like, the main characters, Becks and Rani, as just, like, interstellar space goop cleaners. And there's almost no plot. It's more just kind of chill, and they're like chatting, and it's more world building and whatnot. But you're just going around sucking up goop, cleaning it up, maybe fighting some beasts, using a lot of the same assets and gameplay. Instead of starting over from scratch, you just more of kind of the same.
I don't have all the answers. My kind has failed in many ways, but you are no better. Look, all I know is the planet is going to die if you don't stop this. And so will everyone on it. There must be another way. Well then, I must try to fight you again. I can't just rush in. Maybe I can use the gunk outside as a distraction?
Yeah, I saw this key earlier. I'm kind of shocked that we didn't think of using it.
Oh no, it's not working.
Hold on, Ronnie. We're coming. Ah, looks like the old give it a good hit worked. One more thing, Ronnie. Catch.
My mask! You fixed it.
You've got this.
All right, those machines are vulnerable.
You know, I was expecting the gunk would be more of a distraction for him. They're not? Oh, I see.
Is this working?
Okay. That's the entrance I came in. Have that. There's another goop critter. Seems like we're kind of fine. There we go. I'm just gonna suck up, I think, all of this. I'm just gonna have to be careful I don't get lasered. Yeah, there it is. There we go. See, I was really hoping all I'd have to do is just bait him into lasering lasering the machine instead. I almost kind of wish that was actually like a viable alternative. Now, are the goop gonna mob him?
Force fields are down. Pull them out, Ronnie.
Okay. Oh. Hold up. The gardener. Bit of a megalomaniac reducing planet is dying. Connecting the energy source central planet core.
Just watch me.
The remaining generators are exposed.
Come on, Pumpkin. Just a little further.
Unfortunately, it was auto-aiming to the other one. Oh, that's a mistake. Okay. Go back. Really wish that would actually cause some havoc there. It's fine. Did it? I think it got killed. Could be wrong. Did it get it? Nope.
One more.
Oh boy. This is gonna be fun. Okay. I'm just gonna... make sure you can't move. Okay, there might be another little guy. I'm not entirely sure. This gun upgrade went a very far way. Making my life easier. I got it. Hey.
Time to end this.
What have I done? You may ask. I suck.
What's so bad about wilderness?
Everything all right, Ronnie?
It will be. We just have to let everyone out of here.
Roger. Taking the bunny down.
Hope we'll be able to launch one last time.
You're like the most resourceful person I know. We've got this.
All right, let's get to work.
That was a pleasant game. Obviously, I was way off topic, or maybe extremely on topic, and I can't really tell. Let me get my cursor out of the way. There we go. Not really much to talk about for the villain. Kind of just classic jerk. Thinks he knows better than anybody else. And, I mean, oftentimes, that is actually quite true of the rich and the powerful and leaders in general, that they truly think that they are superior in some way, that they do know better, and that everybody should follow them because manifest destiny, I believe, is the correct way of phrasing it, but that oftentimes there's kind of this idea that, like, only I can lead. But the answer is no, actually. People generally, if trusted and given proper tools and education and training and whatnot, people actually really can collectively work together and do quite a lot without needing any kind of, like, extremely imbalanced hierarchical leadership system or anything like that. And that, you know, by not trusting...
So, now what? Now, I'm erasing all the location data from our logs. If the big corps come here, this place is screwed.
There's gonna be a whole lot of questions to answer about where we've been.
No doubt. But it won't be the first time we've lied to the authorities. We'll cook something up.
Okay. How about this? A phantom quantum bolt. Erase the ship's data, and we only managed to recreate everything except for the location blocks.
What the hell is a phantom quantum bolt?
I don't know, but it sounds cool. Okay. We were loading titanium ore on Celeb Luna, but the ice was too thick, and the cold destroyed all the hard drives.
Would work if Celeb Luna wasn't owned by Stella Enterprise Inc.
Damn it! They're everywhere! How about one of these then? We lost our cargo in a meteor belt and had to sell all detachable tech to make it back home. No? Okay. We we got stranded on the uninhabited side of Mars, and a terrible sandstorm destroyed our drives. We got poisoned, and the substance decreased our intelligence by 50%. And thus, we can't be held responsible for our actions.
Plausible. If they examined our brains, they'd find you actually have less brain cells than most people. Oh, but they'd find my brain is still above average.
Haha, very funny. I give up. Why don't you come up with something?
All right. You talked me into landing on a shitty dead space rock. Then you roamed the wasteland for days in search of who knows what. We ran out of fuel, and I stripped the ship of everything that would burn excessive energy, including all loose tech. I then navigated us home using an old star map. And you have now promised to write poems praising my greatness, one every day, for the rest of your life.
Hey, not too bad. Except the part about the one poem a day. I mean, no one would believe I pledged that kind of commitment.
Good point.
Maybe we should just pretend to have severe memory loss. Last thing we remember is a green fog filling up the cabin, and after that, nothing.
How does that explain the erased logs?
The fog made them evaporate?
Oh, it's gonna be a long trip home. Isn't it?
That is really pretty. Anyway, I think that last topic is more or less done. I wanted to go back to the one before. Oh, production babies. Johan probably, and Sigrid. Cute. I was gonna say though, going back to the topic from prior, right before we fought the boss, talking about how I wish they'd actually take a lot of these things and potentially make another game that is very, very similar, potentially even using a lot of the same assets and tech. I want Gunk cleanup detail. Single player, multiplayer, doesn't matter. Here's a space station, maybe randomly generated. It's covered in gunk, maybe some gunk creatures, maybe some different types of gunk that you have to deal with, and a couple of techniques that you have to work around, and maybe light puzzle elements. All you do is, here's a location, clean it up. The faster you clean it up, the more money you get and pay off your debt. And your debt is ridiculous, and the interest is insane, and it's almost kind of unbeatable. There's no lose condition. It's just you want to pay off the debt, but it's also just to highlight how ridiculously hard it is to escape indentured servitude in this game. And so you're just kind of constantly racing through these levels faster and faster, maybe getting a little bit of upgrades here and there, a setback here and there. Purely just kind of is this tale of extreme trying to pay things off. But ultimately it's just kind of a game that you load up for maybe 30 minutes, 15 minutes. Maybe even you can generate different levels based on how long you want to go for. And you just play. But using what they've already built. It doesn't need to happen, but I think it would be such a cool way to reuse kind of what they have and build upon it further. Because I liked this game, but it felt wrong. That it was a linear experience where it almost would have been better as a sandbox one. The gunk itself was a very static entity, and instead of making the gunk itself interesting, they just added random enemies that were barely anything. And there were only, two enemy types? The little gunk biters, and then the bigger ones that ultimately neither of which were actually a problem. Because the little guys you just suck up or you shoot, and the big guys you just shoot, stun lock, and then just suck on their backs until they're done. This really sounds weird, but still. And I'd love to see a game that actually focused on the gunk a little bit more. And really built upon it further in the cleanup. And yeah, maybe no linear narrative. Or just kind of playing the game for the sake of it. Because there absolutely is this sweet spot niche of games where you just kind of clean up a space. And if you make it a little bit more interesting by, having some extra tools and some extra things that you have to deal with, I think you'd actually have a gold mine on your hands. Because I certainly have played a lot of Power Wash Simulator, and as much as I like that game, I'm not really that interested in most of the things I'm not interested in most of the things that I'm washing. But if it was sci-fi and the gunk, then I'd be interested. And that's all I have to say on the matter. This has been a really fun game. I loved it. It was gorgeous. The music was great. The visuals were nice. Didn't care for the characters. They really weren't much of anything. Rani was kind of charming. Becks was grating. I don't think she really... they really worked out the kinks in their relationship. It was mostly just kind of the, you know, I thought I lost you forever. Now let's actually be good friends. And, you know, sometimes that is true. Sometimes all you need is kind of the thing to shake you out of your funk. You know, it's very easy to get in a negative feedback loop in a relationship where just bad thing after bad thing happens, one after the next. And so you just kind of get into this habit of being grumpy at the other person. And instead of breaking yourself out of the negative feedback loop, you remain negative for a while until something external does it for you. And I think that's fine with how it was presented in here, but it would have been nice if they had actually had like a little bit more of a better example of how to patch up a relationship in that. But at the same time, whatever. It was a short 6-hour game. I shouldn't expect too much of a message out of that sort of thing. For now, though, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.